Do me a favor. Could you say senator instead of ma'am?
I love these members that get up and say, read the bill.
What difference at this point does it make?
The whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
We know that the free market is nonsense.
This liberal will be all about socializing, will be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
The time has come for unfiltered, politically incorrect common sense. Welcome to the wild world of Cowboy Logic.
And welcome back to Cowboy Logic Radio. I'm Donna FIDUCIA, along with Don NEUEN. It's been a week, and man, it seems like
scandalous week.
It just does not stop. It's been actually a week and a day because we were busy yesterday with something I think a little more important than doing a radio show.
Yep, I agree.
We were walking to raise money for the families of fallen heroes. That's military as well as police, fire, and rescue here at home. The organization is called carrytheload.org. If you can check them out, Carry the Load. Who are you carrying? What a great bunch of guys. And I got some exercise. I'll tell you, I'm sore because I'm out of shape. What did we walk? Maybe 3 miles? And you carried a hose that had all the names of all the firefighters that lost their lives, wasn't it? No? What did you have?
Danny carried that one. It was
okay. Well, there were two different hoses.
FDNY hose that had all the names written on it of all the New York firemen that lost their lives on 9/11. The hose that I carried was for the Navy SEALs.
Oh, okay.
And it was for the SEALs that have lost their lives.
Okay, good. But still a great cause. And go online, check them out, carrytheload.org. These guys started walking in West Point, up at West Point in New York State, and they walked down through Charlottesville, Virginia, and down into Atlanta, Georgia, where we hooked up with them yesterday. And now they're making their way west, ending up in Dallas, Texas, on Memorial Day, where there'll be a lot of fanfare and hoopla, and it's all for a great cause. We hope you guys can check them out along the way. But if you go online to carrytheload.org, you can follow them as they make their way across and maybe hook up and help them walk for a few miles or so. It's good exercise. It's for a great cause.
They're raising money for the families of fallen military, fallen fire, and fallen police.
And rescue.
Yep.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, I didn't speak a whole lot yesterday. I don't know if you noticed that when I was walking.
I figured because you were tired carrying all that weight. Those hoses are heavy.
Yeah, they're heavy, but I was pretty emotional about what was going on with this, even though there was a lot of talking going among us all. I just kind of moved away from everybody and tried to figure out who I was carrying. And I decided that what I was going to do is that I was going to carry that load for the 4 guys in Benghazi that begged for help, begged for assistance, begged for
7 hours.
Yeah, and on deaf ears. And I kept thinking over and over, because all I did was look at my boots walking in front of me in the pavement that I was walking on, and I just kept thinking, it's got to be something I hope nobody that I ever know has to experience, is what that must be like to have terrorism raining down on you, and you're begging, you're speaking to the people with your own country that could send in support for you, and they go to sleep.
And you know what? Those 4 people in one little pinky, you know, their little tiny middle, you know, pinky finger is got more just, I don't know what, gravitas, for lack of a better way of saying it, class, patriotism, just phenomenal human beings than all the idiots in Washington, D.C. combined.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, you know, Washington can't hold a candle to what we saw yesterday walking and the people that are walking. And some of the guys were telling me how they met up with some young kids who said they lost their daddy or their mommy overseas. Some kids were so young they don't even remember them. Some people, you know,
some
woman,
people
I think,
weren't even born.
Right. One woman said, you know, I was pregnant when I lost my husband. You know, that's just not right. It's not right. And of course, the military benefits are being cut, too. That's another story. But, you know, leave no crisis left unused here. Let's start with crisis after crisis. Keep everybody reeling. This way, you know, you can bring in your tyrannical government and everybody's going to say, save us. We just want some peace of mind. Let's start with the IRS. Stalled conservatives while giving liberals a pass on tax exemptions. The Tea Party patriots, over 2 years, still not tax exempt. They actually said the IRS wanted to know what books they read, what their emails were, and they wanted book reports on some of those books they read. You know, what books are you reading? Who are you
they're
talking
asking
to?
for all their tweets.
Yep, all their
Facebook correspondence. And that of their relatives.
Yes, and family members. Yet, I guess that would be a relative. I'm talking about not necessarily their immediate family. We're talking extended family too. And then one guy sort of caught on with this because if you had Tea Party or Patriot or Constitution, you didn't stand a chance getting your 401c, whatever it is, C3,
501c4,
whatever, something like that. 401k, I was going to say.
It's 501c4.
Okay. Still, it was a snowball's chance in hell getting that sucker through. No Tea Party applications were approved in the 27-month period beginning February 2010. Overwhelmingly, the people at the IRS donated to the Obama campaign in both 2008 and again last year. Okay. Then, not only that, one guy caught on with all this, because he had some sort of conservative group. So he renamed, or he started another group that he asked for, and it was called the Green something or other. It had green in it. So it seemed like it was, you know, green, environmental or whatever. Mm-hmm. 3 weeks it took him to get approved. 3 weeks. How about that? And Obama's brother, I believe, is in there too, one of his relatives.
What's amazing is that you've got the White House, the position that the White House is taking on this is that, you know, they just, this is terrible. This should never have happened. The American citizens should be outraged over this.
Yeah, we are. We're outraged over him.
This was going on, I think I heard today, back into the 90s.
Well,
this was taking place.
I know when I worked at Fox, Bill O'Reilly used to talk all the time about how every single year Bill Clinton was in office, he was audited until finally he mentioned it on the air and it stopped. I specifically remember that. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen on the right either, but it's blatant when it comes since the Clinton administration. This is
one area that whether you're a liberal or a conservative, you can unite, because the answer to this problem, the solution to this problem, is simple.
It's
going to be very difficult to have happen, but the solution is simple.
I know what you're going to
say. And that
is
the abolishment of the IRS and a flat or a fair tax.
But not only is that not going to happen, we're expanding the IRS. Think about what's going to happen when 16,000 new IRS agents are going to be involved in deciding whether or not you get health care. Hello? Mm-hmm. Are we waking up? Have we read the bill yet? No. I have some friends actually who have read the bill, and they said it's unbelievable. You don't know the half of it.
Well, again, the solution is simple. The implementation of it, and whether or not the citizens are going to stand up to this behemoth part of our society.
If you think about it, just about everything has become a behemoth.
Yeah.
You know, let's get rid of the EPA while we're at it. Homeland Security while we're at it. None of this is going to happen. And meanwhile, Stephen Miller, the acting IRS commissioner, was quote unquote thrown out by Obama today. He was leaving in mid-June anyhow. He left
retirement.
a couple weeks early.
Yeah.
I mean, hello. I mean, when is the...
But the second in command's still there.
Yeah. And Treasury Secretary Jacob Lew has been given the task to get to the bottom of this. Can I ask you something? Why is everything Bush's fault? I mean, when he sneezes, it's Bush's fault. But nothing is Obama's fault in now going into a second term. You know?
What's in the middle of an onion? I'm not a big fan of onions. But what is in the middle of an onion? Just more onion?
A tighter wrapped onion. Why?
Because that's what this is.
Oh, yeah?
Obama's in the middle of this. He's whatever the pit of an onion is.
Well, the fish rots from the head down. I'm sorry. I'll be the first to admit George Bush was no great shakes either. But if George Bush did a tenth of this, an iota of this, they'd be all over him like white on rice.
Yep.
Okay, again.
Well, we actually saw tonight, though, what's her name? Kirsten Powers?
Yeah.
Who's a big-time Democratic strategist, and she has about had it with Barack Obama.
Ah, it's about time. She'll still vote for him again if he were to run again. You bet your bottom dollar.
Well, of course. Although...
he might try to run again, too. I don't put that past
I do see the coyotes circling, and they're about to eat their young.
God, I hope so. God, I hope so.
Just,
anyhow,
I don't want anybody eaten.
Talk about eating your young.
I just want them held accountable.
Get a load of this. Justice, the Department of Justice, a.k.a. Eric Holder, is going to investigate the IRS targeting of the Tea Party. The fox is watching the henhouse there. This is the same Justice Department that raided AP's phone logs, the Associated Press. This is the same Justice Department that raided Gibson Guitars when Gibson Guitars for decades had an agreement with the government of Madagascar to import that wood and said, no, you can't do that anymore. You have to create the guitars in Madagascar, thus killing more jobs here in the United States.
Is this the same DOJ that prosecuted the new Black Panther Party, or am I thinking of a different one?
No, he did not. He chose not to prosecute the new Black Panther.
I was being facetious.
Now, did the DOJ, weren't they the ones who did Fast and Furious too? Wasn't it?
I love that movie.
Yeah. Will you stop?
No, you want to know something, though? I can't tell you the number of people that I've engaged in a conversation
they have no
with,
idea.
and I bring up Fast and Furious, and that's exactly what they say. Yep. I love the movie. I love the movie.
But see, this to me is the progressives going for the jugular. And Obama is just the head progressive, quite the figurehead at this point. I mean, this is a movement that has been going on for over 100 years now. Yep. And people don't realize that. This is a grasp at the education system, which has essentially brainwashed our kids into thinking the government is the be-all and end-all. You don't need any religion. The religion is the government. You know, cradle to grave, health care, and now we're going to start controlling. See, they can't go right out and say you can't, outlaw a Tea Party or some sort of organization.
No, they can just make it so difficult that
exactly.
You can't become the nonprofit organization prior to the election.
And eventually, those organizations will disappear, and that is the whole idea. The arrogance is getting so unbelievably blatant to me from the left and these progressives. They really are going for the jugular, in my opinion. Between this, the fomenting of civil unrest, and to make as much scandals as possible and enough crises as possible to create a dependency on government because people start to get nervous and not think straight, and then to go in and do something like what the IRS is doing, and then the final thing is to go after the press, because when you have the press, that's it.
Well, I hope the press is going to wake up.
Well, look at what Hitler did. Same thing.
Yep.
Look at what Hugo Chavez did. The only thing that so far has not been targeted, and it's been floated, is people's savings accounts and, God forbid, private property.
Hey, you said something a minute ago when you were talking about the the indoctrination of our education system. I want to go back to carry the load, because we heard some things yesterday talking to these guys that was absolutely appalling that we want to let you know about. They went, and I'm going to pick out two schools, the University of Virginia and the University of Georgia.
Shame on them, especially University of Virginia, given that Jefferson founded it.
Especially either of them.
Well, yeah.
These guys were actually heckled while they were walking through these college campuses by students. You know, telling them they were holding up traffic and that they need to, you know, this is bad press.
One guy had a Navy hat on, too. You're making me late for work with a Navy hat. Hey, idiot. What do you think? You're able to go to work because of these guys.
I am sick and tired of uneducated liberal college pukes that think they know everything about everything.
Well, that comes with being a teenager.
They don't have a clue. Don't get me started.
Anybody who's had kids knows that just comes with the territory. Well, what's that T-shirt says? Kids, you know, move out now while you know everything. Move out of your parents' house now while you know everything.
I was a dumbass when I was in college. You know that? I thought I knew everything. I was a fool.
Well, you don't know that until you're...
But I was never a liberal puke.
Well, the thing is, you live and you learn, and unfortunately, it's such an indoctrination now, the education system. Kids aren't learning, they're being indoctrinated. It used to be at the Ivy League level, now it's all the way down. The Ivy League, once you get in there, because, you know, daddy's got a lot of money, you just got connections, no big deal. Now it's pretty much everywhere.
Tell us about the big show tonight.
Well... we have a lot of things.
Did you like that? That was a radio voice.
Yes.
Tell me about the big show tonight.
Well, we do have quite a lot going on besides scandal after scandal after scandal. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk to Mohamed El-Alfy. He is an Egyptian native that had to flee his native Egypt to he lives in Paris now because of what's going on with the quote-unquote Arab Spring. And we had quite a lengthy discussion with him. Unfortunately, when we tried to bring in some other people in discussion, the sound quality was not really what I would call fit for air, but we'll get some of this out. You really get to hear
This is a 4-part interview. The first and the second part are Donna and I with Mohamed.
Yeah, and he's basically giving his view of the Arab Spring and what's going on there, and really the unrest there that's spreading now started there across the Middle East.
This will be a good education for people on the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah. You know, it's not a peaceful organization, gang. By the way,
this is not the Water Buffaloes.
No, the Muslim Brotherhood is meeting with Obama at the White House quite a bit. And he's, professed his backing of the Muslim Brotherhood big time. And nobody knows about this. I mean, nobody knows about the organization. I mean, we're very innocent here in this country. We don't know anything that's going on in the Middle East. Unfortunately, we do now. But a few years ago, we didn't. You think we have open borders, everybody's going to live together in peace and harmony, and that obviously is not the case. We're finding out the hard way that's not the case.
Yep.
Take Boston.
What else on the show?
And then at the top, we're going to hopefully talk to the guys with Carry the Load, check in with them, see where they are. CarryTheLoad.org. They should be out of Georgia, I would think, at this point. You going to tell us?
You want me to tell you where they are?
Yeah, tell me now.
Chattanooga.
Really?
They're in Chattanooga.
Pardon me, man. I'm on the Chattanooga choo-choo. Track number 9.
Everybody now.
Dating myself. Give me a song.
Okay, just the girls.
Yeah, stop.
Hey, is there anybody here from Atlanta?
You put your left foot in.
We got anybody from out of town here? All right.
Oh, boy. Okay, then at 10 o'clock, we're going to switch gears, and we're going to rock and roll a little bit.
Man, did that hurt.
I'm sorry. I tried to turn my head away from the mic.
I noticed that. It didn't work.
It didn't work. Sorry about that, gang out there. Does the name Tom Kiefer ring a bell? You're going, yeah, I know him. I do too, and it's great to know him because he's a cool guy. Tom Kiefer, lead singer from the band Cinderella, now striking out on his own. He has a solo album, his long-awaited solo album called The Way Life Goes, and we will be talking to him at the top of the hour, next hour. And he's in Little Rock, Arkansas. I think he's got a show there tomorrow, and he's heading across country promoting his new album. And he's just the coolest guy, so looking forward to talking to him.
A conservative rocker.
And he admits
What do chicks dig more than that?
And he admits it. Anyhow, besides what's going on all around, as far as, it's like, you know, people tend to look for answers when crises hit. And it creates desperation. And to me, this clouds people's judgment. And that is exactly the Cloward and Piven strategy. That is exactly what is going on with this administration. Just crisis after crisis after crisis. Think about one thing. Let me ask you something. After a presidential election, usually nobody talks politics anymore. That's it. The president and Congress and the Senate, they do their thing. Everything's cool. Here we are, not only during Obama's first term, but now, you know, well into his second term. This is all we talk about. You know, I mean, unless you do news for a living, most people wouldn't necessarily be talking about what's going on in Washington. But there's so much going on at this point that even people who are, you know, have their head in the sand are starting to wake up a little bit.
I'm suffering from chronic Obama fatigue syndrome.
I thought it's chronic Cloward and Piven syndrome.
Yeah, about the same thing.
Same thing. Do they have remedies for that?
Yeah.
What are the side effects?
The first thing is this.
Tell me the side effects.
Anybody listening, I'm telling you, here's the answers. Number one, call your congressman, call your senators, and demand that there is accountability with regard to Benghazi, with regard to the IRS, with regard to the AP. Demand accountability. Demand select committees that will put these people, they will have subpoenaing power, and they must put them under oath. Hillary Clinton testified not under oath.
This is with the Senate and the Congress.
That's right.
Neither of them swore her in. Tell me that wasn't
The
planned.
excuse was this. Well, she's a high-ranking official.
Bull
and
crap.
We didn't feel like we needed to do that.
Bull crap. I'm sorry. You put them under oath.
She did not testify under oath. So get on the phones. Wear the phones out. I called John Boehner the other day incessantly to listen to his damn answering machine and his little patriotic music. That
Did you get a human being? Did you finally talk to him?
No.
What are we paying these jokers for? I almost said the A word.
We can say that, I think.
The AH word?
Yeah.
Nah, it's my
All right, so anyway,
brain.
Get on the phone, get engaged, talk to your friends, get them calling. You've got to hold these people in Washington accountable. That's the first part of the solution. The second part of the solution is do whatever you can do, whether it's on Facebook, start a damn radio station, sit around and talk about this stuff at dinner, talk to your children about it, talk to your friends at work about it, and figure out a way to pressure Congress into abolishing the damn IRS.
That would be a dream come true.
It would be, but what are we going to do? Sit around here and think about it, or are we going to try to push people to cure the problem?
We definitely need to simplify the tax code, and it just gets thicker and thicker and thicker. And now we've got Obamacare, which is thicker than the Bible. I mean, how are people going to comply with this? This is a joke. And you've got 16,000 IRS agents that, people don't even realize, because they didn't read the bill first, that you have a whole separate healthcare thing you're going to have to fill out when you fill out your tax return now. Like, it's not difficult enough.
This is... I want to go to break.
Okay. We'll be back. 917-675-3200 is the phone number. Or the Liberal Helpline, 310-299-2899. Give us a call right here on Cowboy Logic Radio. Mohamed El-Alfy coming up in just a moment.
out on the web at cowboylogic.us.
You're listening to Cowboy Logic Radio.
Star Coaches Incorporated wants to take care of your company outing, bachelor or bachelorette party, or guys' golf trip. Can you imagine riding in a 45-foot custom-built coach with plush leather interior, flat-screen TVs with in-motion satellite, a refrigerator, and a bathroom? Visit StarCoachUSA.com and let the folks at Star Coaches help you pick the perfect ride. Executive limo coaches provide comfortable and secure transportation that's easy and affordable. Fill the coach up with 28 of your favorite people and leave the driving to the pros. No matter where you're headed, the entire experience is sure to be unforgettable. The trained coach drivers are dedicated to getting you and your guests to your event safely and on time. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy your trip. Your buddies are waiting. Visit StarCoachUSA.com today.
Hey, this is Nick Polizos, Captain Conservative from Low Tar Radio, and you are listening to Cowboy Logic Radio on the American Pride Network.
Cowboy Logic phone lines are now open. Give us a call at 917-675-3200. That's 917-675-3200. And liberals, we feel your pain, so we've created a special number just for you. And it's a California area code. How appropriate. 310-299-2899 is our liberal helpline. Liberals, give us a call, too. We're open-minded here on Cowboy Logic Radio.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Eric with Saving Abel, and you're listening to Cowboy Logic Radio.
Okay, so we know you don't necessarily want to talk to Don NEUEN, but we know you want to talk to Donna FIDUCIA, and you can. Call 917-675-3200, and you'll get to talk to Donna FIDUCIA, and Don NEUEN will sit there and wait patiently.
Ladies and gentlemen, Representative Hank Johnson, Democrat, Georgia.
Mr. Speaker, like a kid at a carnival, I rise in full support of H.R. 527, the Responsible Helium Administration and Stewardship Act of 2013. Mr. Speaker, I'm relieved that And I'm sure that the American people are relieved as well that Congress is finally going to do something about one of the most pressing issues today. That is, we've got to ensure access to helium for all. I'm pleased to support this bill, which shows that this Tea Party Congress will make the tough choice to keep children's birthday parties on schedule and give industries that rely on helium the lift that they deserve. Imagine, Mr. Speaker, a world without balloons. How can we make sure that the injustice of there being no helium for comedians to get that high-pitched voice that we all hold near and dear to our hearts? Imagine a world without balloons. Today, the House has chosen to just simply float above it all. And finally, we're going to do something for the American people, and we should all pat ourselves on the back for that.
Don't you just wish you could do that to the turds in Congress?
You're listening to Cowboy Logic Radio.
The Cowboy Logic phone lines are now open. Give us a call at 917-675-3200. That's 917-675-3200.
This is Jorge Soto from the band Moenia. When I'm in home in Mexico City, or if I'm touring the world with Moenia, I listen to Cowboy Logic Radio. Cowboy Logic is my choice for unfiltered, politically incorrect common sense.
Ya no alcanzo otra oportunidad, que a ti volver no se te da. Ahora que te has clavado en mí, ahora que solo quiero ir por ti, me dices que ya no, que se me pasará, que lo que te hice yo fue más que lástima, y te dejo con las tardes que te robé, con tu cuerpo atrapándome para dejarme ir. Te dejo con ese cansancio que viene de morir 3 veces amándote para revivir. Te dejo.
Hi, this is Ruby Sanchez from beautiful Indio, California, and you are listening to Cowboy Logic Radio.
Que no pasó, eso me quedo yo.
This is Jorge Soto from the band Moenia, and you're listening to Cowboy Logic Radio.
You know, do me a favor. Could you say senator instead of ma'am?
I love these members that get up and say, read the bill.
What difference at this point does it make?
The whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
We know that the free market is nonsense.
This liberal will be all about socializing, will be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
The time has come for unfiltered, politically incorrect common sense. Welcome to the wild world of Cowboy Logic.
We have a very special guest tonight, something that I've really been looking forward to for a number of weeks here, because we hear so much about what's going on with the Arab Spring, things going on in the Middle East, Benghazi, everything just in turmoil throughout most of the Middle East now in the last few years. And dare I say it, since I believe this Arab Spring has happened, it's been anything but an Arab Spring. It's been more of an Arab winter. But we connected on Facebook with a gentleman named Mohamed El-Alfy, and he is an Egyptian born. He's an Egypt native, living now in Paris. He's an Arab commentator and a political analyst as well. He's he's written many columns. I unfortunately can't read them in Arabic, but had some semi-translations with many of them. But Mohamed El-Alfy, we do welcome you here to Cowboy Logic Radio, and we would really like to hear your side of what you feel is going on as an Egyptian with the Arab Spring throughout not only Egypt but all the Middle East.
First of all, my pleasure. Thank you very much. About this Arab Spring, it's difficult to talk about it because it's not, of course, in Egypt, for example, or in the Middle East or Arabian area, we are looking for a real spring, but what is done on the ground is bloody spring, and this spring backed by senior governments all over the world to lead the extremists to control our countries, unfortunately.
So you feel the extremists from other countries, such as America possibly, and Russia, other stronger countries are trying to have a huge influence across the Middle East?
For example, let's talk directly about, we'll give an actual example. The U.S. administration, Obama administration, support Muslims Brotherhood to troll Egypt. And this, the history, bloody history of this group, Brotherhood, is known to everyone all over the world. It's a bloody history. Why they are supporting them to rule a country like Egypt? The people went to the streets looking for freedom, for democracy, for best life, not to be controlled by extreme group.
See, we were fed a bill of goods, in my opinion, here, because we were told, oh, the Muslim Brotherhood is secular, they're really not that, much of a terrorist organization, and we're finding out now that the Muslim Brotherhood is anything but. And I might add, the Muslim Brotherhood has had more visits to the White House than just about any other group in the last few years, and more visits directly with President Obama.
Yes, here we have only, if we will talk in a political way, the U.S. administration would like to deal with the organized group. But of course, there is alternative groups, democratic groups in Egypt, not only the extremist Brotherhood, to be invited to White House to talk about the Middle East affairs or other political affairs in Egypt or in the GCC countries. You can negotiate with others. Many politicians inside Egypt is better rather than this extreme group. Now, we got hurted as an Egyptian from Obama administration, and that is will put the Egyptian-American relation in the nearest future under a real pressure. It will be this relation will be affected by the behavior of Obama administration against the Egyptian people. Yes, if you would like to achieve in a business, to protect the American business in the area, don't deal with the extremists, because all these extremists you are supporting today, to support them to rule countries like Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, tomorrow they will be, you can't trust them. Tomorrow they will be against the American business in the region, and will be against the American people also. Don't trust them. Of course, there is experts in the United States. They will understand well what I'm talking about. All these groups, you can use them today, but tomorrow they will be against you. That is the real mistakes of the U.S. politicians or Obama administration, unfortunately.
Well, Mohammed, let me ask you this. Why do you think that the Obama administration is backing and supporting the Muslim Brotherhood so much? I mean, we've obviously got our views on this, but right now yours are the one that mean so much to us. Why do you think the Obama administration is backing and supporting so heavily the Muslim Brotherhood?
That is not. I can't say that. I guess. I think no. It's true. They are supporting them. Obama said in the last days of Mubarak, our U.S. administration, the Speaker of U.S. administration said to Mubarak, "It's enough. You have to go now. Don't kill people. It's okay. You are supporting democracy. We believe that. But why when?" The Brotherhood killed the people in downtown, everywhere in Egypt. We didn't hear just a small talk to say, shame on you, Morsi, stop killing people. And if you will talk to, if you will hear to or to read the speeches of U.S. ambassador in Egypt and Patterson, you will know what I'm talking about Also, hear speeches in newspapers, in TVs. It's incredible to believe that this ambassador represent the United States, represent the country, talking day and night about freedom and democracy. It's incredible to believe. In Egypt, we love all people all over the world. We didn't hate anyone. But the behavior of some administrations all over the world, it's against the people of my country, against my nation, and that is will lead us to will lead us soon to a civil war.
I think that's happening across the Middle East. Well, you have to look at what, for some reason, the mainstream media in this country, I guess because they're so in the tank for Obama at this point, they don't want to admit they might have. He might have some faults. They just don't want to admit it. Because this is what's happened in Libya. They're now setting their sights on Syria, saying that, possibly with the use of chemical weapons, that's the line in the sand. But then they backtracked on that this week. And then also Saudi Arabia. But, these have all been regimes that have been criticized because they were, I guess, in some respects, maybe not so much Libya until the last couple of years with Gaddafi, more in line with America's interests. And now we've been criticized so much, it seems like the United States is doing a 180, but it's almost like be careful what you wish for, because what's coming in is even worse. And what gets me is that nobody's even talking about how Christians are being killed. Churches, the Coptic Christians in Egypt are being killed off. The churches are being burned. And if they don't convert, they're being killed. And the media is completely silent on that.
Yeah, about this last point exactly, about the Coptic Christian in Egypt. We are living together 1,000 years ago. So what has happened? What has happened on the ground, if you would like to talk about the last few months, the people attack the Coptic Christians in Egypt is the Brotherhood and the Salafists. Last week, the U.S. administration invite and say hello and welcome to what is called the Al-Nur Party from the Salafists. So you are supporting the extremists. And in Egypt, really, we don't like to say about to divide Egypt to Muslims and Christians because we are all Egyptians. But those people, the extremists like Salafists and Brotherhood, don't know how to live in peace. They can't believe that it's a country for all. They are not believing country for all. Even for Egyptian Muslims, for the moderate people, for the moderate brains, for liberal Muslims, no, anyone will say to them, you are wrong, they will attack him They will not care about his religion, if he's a Muslim or Christian.
Well, that's why it's so hard for a moderate Muslim to even speak out from what I can see. And of course, I don't know firsthand, but, everybody says, that Islam is a religion of peace. But if you're moderate and you speak out and you get killed by an extremist or beaten up, you're not going to say anything.
No, it's, if we will talk about religion itself, Islam really, it's a religion of peace. All the hidden messages for Jewish, for Christian, for Muslims, the hidden messages call for peace, for love between people. But the situation in Egypt is now we have bad results on the ground due to the behavior of senior administrations in the world would like to achieve business. And they go through what's so-called the fourth generation wars. The strategy of the fourth generation wars rely on how to create chaos. Mm-hmm. So they support and they create more groups, extremist groups, to achieve chaos, to create a kind of business. And that is incredible to believe. This is against humanity, against human rights, against the freedom of the people. We are in century 21. We are calling for more peace, for more rights for the human people. It's impossible to create chaos, to create a new slaves all over the world. That is not fair.
Well, Mohammed, the whole idea of creating chaos we're seeing here in the United States. And I've been talking about it for almost 5 years now, maybe longer, in which the Progressive Party and, I'm not labeling progressives. I'm labeling political progressives. And quite frankly, in my opinion, the Obama administration is all about creating enough chaos in which the people of the country then look to the government for sanctuary and for security, because the confusion, the overload of information, the complexity of issues force a normal citizen to do nothing more than, become submissive to the chaos, if that's a good way
and
to
withdraw
to put it.
To try its self-preservation mode is what it is.
So I totally understand. As a matter of fact, Rahm Emanuel, who used to be a high-ranking member of the Obama administration, and he's now the mayor of Chicago, said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste."
And that's his key phrase. And here in America, we're seeing crisis after crisis, and nobody even knows what Obamacare is going to do to businesses, let alone the healthcare industry, when it's fully implemented. And this week, President Obama gave a press conference saying, well, it's pretty much fully been implemented, which is an out-and-out lie. Sorry to say, it hasn't been. I don't know whether he's totally out of touch with what he's doing or this is by design, just tell people what they want to hear. But it's very scary because it's happening here as well as around the world. But in our economy, which really rises the tide at this point still with the entire world, if we go down, the world's in trouble, in serious trouble.
Yeah, unfortunately, most of the politician is giving lies to the people, and we can't blame the liar politicians. We have to blame the people, believe them, and encourage them to continue. That's the main problem.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Let me
and the thing is, there's a saying: if you lie enough, eventually people are going to believe you. If you just keep lying.
Okay. Say it enough times, they think it's the truth. Kind of like it's Bush's fault.
You can deceive me 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, but after that, if I will accept the lies, of course there is no foolish everywhere of the world. Of course, people must wake up. People must wake up. Instead of creating chaos all over the world, go to direct cooperation. The failure characters or failure leaders used to create chaos to make a new wars from any generation, first generation, second, third, fourth generation wars, to create chaos to achieve goals, or to go, if these goals will not success, the chaos will go to a real war on the ground. But the successful people who they can create a cooperation between the nations all over the world, use to cooperate how to exchange the wheel of resources, to manufacture here, manufacture there, to achieve a peaceful society, not to create murders or to commit crimes all over the world. That is, the successful people can go to cooperation, and unfortunately now also most of the countries all over the world now need a new thinkers, new social thinkers, new economic thinkers, because the traditional brains already dead. It's not useful to believe them anymore.
Mohammed, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
About 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, when the whole Arab Spring uprising was taking place.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess 2 years ago.
No, it was more like 3 now.
At any rate, I spoke with a young lady that I am not going to disclose her identity. She was at one point extremely close to me. I knew her very well, and she was living in Egypt.
Yeah.
And at the time of the uprising, she moved back to the United States.
Yeah.
Now, I was on the phone with her, and I expressed my concerns about the Muslim Brotherhood specifically.
Yeah.
And she went on to correct me and say that, the Muslim Brotherhood is good. It was nothing to worry about. I was overreacting. It was unfounded concerns.
Well, when you're so close to a situation, you don't see what's really happening. And she didn't see it right in front of her. She lived 15 miles from the pyramids.
And she is married to an Egyptian. But she continually told me that I was not right, that the Muslim Brotherhood was nothing to fear, that it was absolutely positive. And I'd like to get your take. 2 years, 3 years later, is the Muslim Brotherhood as a whole, whether it's in Egypt, whether it's in the United States, whether it's in the White House, is it something that the citizens of the world need to be concerned about?
And also, Mohammed, I just real quick would like to add, is that why you are in Paris now as well, to escape this?
Yes. First of all, I will answer at the first part or I comment at words. It's I'm a man from this land. This woman living there. I was born there. I grew there. I get my education there, and I have enough experience about my country and about how everything is going through. Unfortunately, this lady don't have enough experience to understand the real situation. The history of this Muslim Brotherhood group, 8 years of crimes against civilians, against the officials. No one can say we can trust this brotherhood by any way. And the answer, you will see the answer by the end of 2013. 2013 will be the end of the brotherhood in Egypt, of the era of brotherhood in Egypt. No way. The next revolution is coming soon against them, because when they are backed by U.S. administration to rule Egypt, they try to terminate all the Egyptians and to bring the members of this gang, I will not say organization, It's a real gang. To bring a member inside from this gang to be in the senior positions for all the authorities and organization, government organization, to control Egypt, to be like Afghanistan later, or like them friends in extremist Hamas in Gaza. We will not allow this to happen. By the end of this year, I promise all the free people all over the world, the Egyptians will terminate the brotherhood and will end the era of brotherhood before the end of this year. That's my promise to the free people looking for democracy and wish the best wishes for Egypt. I'll go again to DONNA, why I'm here in Paris right now. Of course, after what happened inside the country, not me only, thousand people like me, female, males, leave Egypt because they lost jobs. Mm-hmm. Most of the companies, most of the organizations closed because we can't deal with the extremist brains inside our country, and of course we can't defend about our country inside Egypt because we will be jailed and arrested. And maybe if we are inside, me and a thousand like me, if we will be inside right now, maybe you can see our pictures. Those people die yes, those people die in the last week between the demonstrators. Of course, I will tell you something. Most of the youth went to the streets in demonstrations against the brotherhood. They got shocked in the head from back. Mm-hmm. All crimes like that.
They're being killed. So here's my question now. People like yourself who want a better Egypt are being killed off. So there's nobody left to fight at this point, or they've had to flee. And to me, this whole Arab Spring is just sending the entire Middle East into a dark ages.
Yes, but also we are working with our friends inside Egypt to liberate Egypt, because Egypt now under the occupation. Let me say it frankly. Maybe some people will say no, that is not the right expression, but I am sure that is the right expression. Egypt under occupation of the extremists. We insisted to liberate it before the end of this year.
What about M1 tanks, billions of dollars in aid, and fighter jets being sent by the Obama administration to the Muslim Brotherhood against Congress's wishes?
No, this part is different, because you can say exactly Obama administration. You can say exactly there is an agreement, peace agreement between Egypt and Israel. More than 30 years right now, I think since 1978. And this aid is going to Egypt and Israel, both of them.
But it's going directly to the Muslim Brotherhood, which is now denouncing that peace agreement.
Allow me to interrupt you in this point especially. They are sending this military equipment, all military equipment, from the budget of the American aid to Egypt, like Israel exactly. But now you can say there is the U.S. administration making a separation between the army and the president. That is, this point especially, it must be clear for everyone, because the army administration not under the control of Brotherhood until now. Let me say until now. And it will not be, the Egyptian army will not be controlled by the Muslim Brotherhood by any way.
So you're saying this aid didn't go to the Muslim Brotherhood. That's not what I'm hearing.
No, the Brotherhood is bringing guns for the Brotherhood gangs inside Egypt, bring military equipment via tunnels from Gaza, via borders from Libya. So, but also our army is working hard on the borders to destroy tunnels with Gaza, and they arrest many of the extremists shipping military equipment via Libyan borders.
All right.
That's the situation exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to have to take a quick break here, Mohammed. I want to come back and revisit this, and you started talking about other countries as well, and arms that the United States and possibly Russia, of course, could be sending to other countries, Libya, Syria, and the like, possibly even Saudi Arabia in the crosshairs at this point. So I want to get to how this whole thing is affecting the entire Middle East, and certainly try to bring on some friends of ours who lived in Israel as well, and I would like to discuss this with you too. So hang on there. Mohamed El-Alfy. He lives in Paris. He's a native Egyptian. He is an Arab commentator and political analyst. Fascinating conversation here on Cowboy Logic Radio. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Okay, we have to update that a little bit. We did have some friends come on and talk with Mohammed, but unfortunately we had a lot of technical issues, which we don't have anymore now that we've got a better sounding radio station. But at first we did, as that interview was done, a little over a week ago. So, we're not going to be able to get the rest of, that interview with the group on there, but we will get more of our one-on-one that I had with Mohamed El-Alfy, next week and, possibly even the week after, because we did talk to him for a couple of hours. But in general, what he's talking about, it's not dated because he's talking about what's going on in Egypt, and it's an ongoing thing. Something I also wanted to add with the Egyptian really mess, the Arab winter I call it, is that the biggest business now, as you heard him talking about how the businesses were closing in Egypt and people were fleeing, they were being persecuted, so they were fleeing religious persecution. They were fleeing the Muslim Brotherhood if they were not agreeing with the Muslim Brotherhood and helping them out, and also fleeing because of lack of jobs. But the biggest business now in Egypt are metal workers who are making guns, which is really scary stuff. And that ties into Benghazi, ties into a lot of different things. All right, I did also want to mention that we have to keep diligent here at home. And we've got some guys who are crossing the country now from West Point all the way out to Dallas, Texas, where they're going to finish up and raising money for the families of fallen heroes. I'm talking about carrytheload.org. And I want to bring in two guys that were walking today as well. Greg Barnes, who is a ranger, and John Jones as well. Hi, guys. How you doing? How you holding up there walking across the country?
Hey, Donna. Thanks for having us. We're doing great. How are you?
All right. Where are you at now?
Just south of Dalton, Georgia. We're up in Resaca right now, Donna. I'm be heading overnight through Dalton and then up into Chattanooga and Dunlap, Tennessee tomorrow.
I hope you don't have your wives with you, because if you're in Dalton, chances are you're going to have to stop and buy some carpeting as you go through. It's one of the few businesses that are still remaining in this country.
Who have we got in here with us right now? We got John or Greg?
This is Greg right now.
Hey, man. Hey, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, Donna and I could do some kind of a bio intro on you, but we surely don't want to get anything wrong. All I know is that I respect you highly, man. I really do.
Hey, likewise. After I watched you carry that hose through the entire leg yesterday, that was impressive stuff.
Well, I had you guys there, man. I had to man up big time.
You guys are a third his age.
I could see the outpouring of pride in your eyes while you were carrying that hose. So, yeah. But, born and raised Dallas, Texas, and enlisted after 9/11, served from 2002 to 2005. I got out. I was recalled in 2008. Did another 3 years, and it's just been about right at 2 years to the day almost that I've been out for the second and final time. Had the great opportunity to serve in the Special Operations community with the 75th Ranger Regiment, deployed overseas to Iraq and Afghanistan, and was just an incredible and amazing opportunity to serve this great nation of ours.
Thank you.
You guys are walking, and we certainly, I agree with Don. There's just nothing you can say as far as respect. There's just no way we can show our gratitude enough to you guys. But what you were saying, and all the guys were saying yesterday when we were walking with you in Atlanta, is that sure, you're walking to raise money for fallen heroes, but you're also, or their families, but you're also walking for the guys that hold the fort back home while you're overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan and wherever else you're being deployed. And to that end, there's a story that I'm seeing actually on the Drudge Report that with all this other news is not getting any airplay whatsoever. But shortly after midnight on Tuesday, 7 people were caught trespassing at the Quabbon Reservoir, which is one of the biggest reservoirs in the country that serves the Boston, Massachusetts area. And these people were of Pakistani and Saudi descent, and apparently they were scientists. So, we have to remain diligent here at home as well. This is starting to be something when I did news, I saw was happening obviously in Israel and other parts of the world. But after what happened in Boston and now something like this, we have to be diligent here at home big time.
Yeah, absolutely. Our first responders here in this great nation are pivotal to our safety and our first responders, obviously. And I think Carry the Load has done a great job bringing those guys into the fold, those men and women, because those that we lose in service aren't just active duty military overseas, but they are our first responders, our police and fire here stateside. So those are important people that we want to make sure get recognized as well. And so it's a great honor for us to be walking in support of those service members as well, who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to us and to this country.
Mm-hmm. And Greg Barnes, we want to give a shout out also to John Jones, who was there with you. He was walking as well with us. And if you can stick John on the phone, just real quick, tell us, John, a little bit about what you're doing as far as your service.
Yes, ma'am. Donna, this is John, and I'd have to also give credit to my entire team, Dill Driscoll, Jared Massey, and Wes Van Dyke. We've been working on Carry the Load for about 6 months now, the national effort itself, everything from planning, operations, logistics, and now the execution and promotion. And Star Coaches and Don have been great team and partners with us since day one, but it's been amazing just to walk across the country and see the impact that this movement and a national effort for Carry the Load can have on a nation and on individuals in every community. When you walk side by side with a mother who has lost her son or daughter in Afghanistan is carrying his or her flag through their town to walk in remembrance of that family member, it's truly an impactful project, and it brings back home the impact of what you're doing and what the movement can mean for the country if we can get it spurred across the country.
Absolutely. You want to tell everybody again to go online to carrytheload.org. They're up in Dalton, Georgia now, heading up in toward Chattanooga, and then turning west, heading eventually by Memorial Day to end up in Dallas, Texas, with a lot of hoopla there, and hopefully if you can get out to see them on Memorial Day. I mean, you guys were calling this Memorial May, and God bless you for it. That's perfect. I wish that would catch on more, because so many people in this country forget what Memorial Day is all about, let alone Memorial May. But we want to thank you, John Jones and Greg Barnes and all the guys with Wes is out there, Wes Van Dyke, and I don't want to leave anybody out, so I'm just going to say the whole crew at carrytheload.org. Keep up the good work. We're going to keep giving you a plug wherever we can. And again, please, everybody, go online, donate. State, help out the families of fallen heroes. Guys, thanks a bunch. I really do appreciate it, and keep up the great work.
Thanks for your support, guys.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right,
John.
guys, take care, okay?
Have a great night.
Okay,
All right.
you too. Night. They'll be sleeping on the bus.
They will. They will indeed. All right. I want you to intro our next guest, although he's going to come on in about 4 or 5 minutes. We're going to play his current single right now, and I'm going to let you intro up while I cue it up here.
That would be Tom Kiefer from Cinderella. Boy, talk about switching gears, huh? We're going from Egypt to Carry the Load. Now we're going to do some rock and roll. This is Tom's new solo album, and the album is called The Way Life Goes. His first single is called The Flower Song. Tom Kiefer from Cinderella will be talking to him in just a few moments right here on Cowboy Logic Radio.
But this song is solid ground.
The rock and roll.
This is solid ground.
Okay,
the video's out on this. Go to YouTube, do a search for it, watch it. But you're going to listen to it right about now.
Solid Ground. That's Tom Kiefer. I'm having a throwback here, gang. All of a sudden, I feel like I got to play DJ. Hey, it's 71 degrees here in the beautiful city of New York. Just whenever a song winds down, I just have this feeling I got to say what the song is, who it is, and then do a weather report or something. Sorry.
Well, settle
just a
down.
Flashback.
Settle down.
It was rough. It was rough. But that was the single called Solid Ground. The singer is Tom Kiefer. You're probably thinking, I know that. That's Cinderella's lead singer. Well, he's got a solo album out. The album is called The Way Life Goes, and we have Tom Kiefer on the phone with us. Hey there, guy. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All right. You are in the midst of a tour now promoting your new album. Where are you at now, Tom?
We're in Little Rock, Arkansas for a night off. We play here tomorrow. And then after that, I'm not really sure. Louisiana, I think.
Well, Tom, I am sure because I have the
I got
itinerary.
It now. Monroe, Louisiana, Broussard,
Monroe,
Louisiana,
okay.
and Jefferson, and then Beaufort, Georgia. Okay, so you're coming back our way. But ironically, you're in Little Rock, Arkansas. You see the Clintons there, Tom?
I have not run into them. No, I have not.
I want to get into some politics with you there. Let me ask you, this is something that's long awaited, but you didn't just, do this haphazardly. This took years in the making, and I would think that any first solo album, separate from being, in the band of Cinderella, it's so important, I guess, to really make your mark as a solo artist, and you really just hit the mother lode with this album.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad you like it. It's been a very long time in the making. My first thought of a solo record was in the mid-'90s when the whole music scene had changed and the Seattle and grunge movement came along and kind of knocked a lot of bands from the 80s out of the ring, if you will. And I started thinking about it then and writing songs for it. It kept getting put on the back burner for whatever reason. And I eventually came around to the idea again in around 2003 and started actually producing and recording the record. And I decided to do it independently of a label because I didn't want to have anyone telling me when the record was finished. And that's kind of a blessing and a curse to be completely out on your own with no supervision, because on one hand you get to take as much time as you want, and on the other hand you get to take as much time as you want. So we ended up taking 10 years to make this record. But to me, it was worth it because I feel I had the opportunity to leave no stone unturned in the production and the arrangements and the writing. So I'm very happy with how it came out.
Now, I'm looking at the write through that we have on it, and there are 14 tracks on the album, the CD. I say album, dating myself. They call
them albums.
I know, you have to. But I loved having that vinyl. And they're the coolest things to have autographed and stuff. But they call it organic, acoustic, and hard driving. What the heck is an organic song?
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe more the intimate or the acoustic tracks on the record. But honestly, I think even the hard driving stuff on this record is what I would call organic, which is, unprocessed.
Oh, okay.
And unaffected, where it's just mixed very dry and raw. To me, that's organic, where you're just really getting the instruments and the voices just right in your face. And that was one of the things that took a long time to accomplish with the record, because engineers like to play with their toys and their effects and stuff. And we went through 18 different mix engineers to try and get a very natural sound, because I didn't want to chase like a particular flavor of the day kind of production. I just wanted it to sound real. So I think organic is what they mean by being real.
But that's really cool too, because again, I always, as a real lover of rock and roll, I'd rather hear somebody, I guess I never heard it called organic, but I see what you're saying, and it's not processed. It's not something that's created in a studio. And it's you, and that's what I want to hear as a fan. Quite frankly, I don't want to hear something and then go see somebody in concert and have them sound completely different because they really can't sing. Yeah,
exactly. It's the real thing, and it's not slick. It's raw. Rock and roll, I think, should be raw, and all my heroes growing up, their records were real or organic, as we say today, like Zeppelin and the Stones. It was just the music in your face. It was the real thing. And, that's a hard thing to accomplish in the studio.
I remember John Lennon even said after he recorded Twist and Shout, he said it was one take because there was no way my voice was going to last through a second take, and that was it. He screamed his lungs out.
I believe it.
Hey, getting to that, you had some health issues as well. You had some problems with your throat that you had to overcome?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with a partly paralyzed vocal cord, my left cord to be specific, in the early 90s. And we were on tour, I was on tour with Cinderella, actually, and we were supporting the Heartbreak Station record, which was our third record. And I literally woke up one day, the onset was overnight, and my voice was just shot. I couldn't hold a note. I was cracking and breaking. I sounded like the kid in the Little Rascals, Alfalfa, whose voice always yodeled and cracked. And it took a while for them to diagnose what the problem was. A lot of doctors were confused. They were looking down my throat and looking for nodes or more common problems that rock singers would develop. And I didn't have any of those. And eventually a doctor listened to what I was, complaining of or what my symptoms were. And he ran a neurological test and discovered that I had a pretty significant decrease on the left side of the message from the brain, which causes a paralysis or a partial paralysis. And I was told I would never sing again.
Wow. How did you overcome that?
Well, you can't really fix it with a medicine or surgery. Your only hope is to retrain the vocal cord to respond properly. And it's not an exact science, and most people aren't able to do it. I've been very persistent over the years. I've been working at it since the early 90s. Every year that goes by, it gets stronger. I'm constantly working with new vocal coaches and teachers and trying to learn as much about technique and supporting the voice to maximize what I have left. And it's just gotten stronger and stronger over the years. It's still something that I have to maintain daily. For any given night when I'm doing a show, I do warm-ups and exercises that are probably longer than the show itself just to get my voice into that place where it will work.
Wow.
Well, Tom, I remember the first time that I ever met you was probably, I'm going to guess 2002 or maybe 2002, and you guys had come to Atlanta, and Danny and I came down to Lakewood where you guys were performing, and you had to go to the hospital. And so I loaded you in the back of my car, and we took you to the hospital, and you man-upped and performed that night.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was, I had a bit of a scare the night before. If I remember correctly, we were out on tour with Poison, and I think we were coming from Orlando maybe. And I think we had to cancel the show the night before, if I'm remembering correctly, because I was warming up for the show, and I had no voice, and we feared that I had a hemorrhage, possibly, because that's one of the things that I've had to deal with over the years is what I refer to as collateral damage, because it's so difficult to sing with the partially paralyzed vocal cords. You're constantly injuring it.
Is that because you're overcompensating?
Yeah, because you're straining to try and get it out. So, and overcompensating is one of the hardest things to overcome.
Yep.
Is to let, and so, yeah, I do remember that. And it turns out that I didn't have the damage that we were afraid of. It was more of a laryngitis kind of thing that had taken me out the night before, and I'd gotten some medicine, and it kind of healed, and I was able to sing that next night. So it's always a scary ride.
I don't know how you can sing. Yeah, I don't know how you can sing with that intensity without having vocal cord problems. I would think that it's probably what caused the problem to begin with.
Well, it's oddly enough that it's not what causes the problem. The problem was caused by, it can be caused many different ways. Mine was attributed to a virus. You can get a very bad cold or flu virus, and if it settles into the nerve that controls that vocal cord, it can damage it.
Wow.
And that's probably what caused what's
got to really be a major pain in the butt, really, is with music that's really pirated over the internet now. You have to tour in order to make a living at this point in rock and roll.
Yeah, it certainly has become a major source of income, and I've been very fortunate with Cinderella. Our touring business has continued over the years to be very successful, and I'm very fortunate to have had that kind of success with that band, and I'm hoping for more of it as we go here. So
now you had some co-writers and some help on this album too. Your wife Savannah helped you.
Yeah, Savannah's an amazing songwriter and singer and artist in her own right. She was in Nashville actually before me, and worked as a songwriter at a publishing company there, and she wrote and produced hundreds of demos on Music Row, and she co-wrote quite a few songs on this record with me, and also co-produced a record with Chuck Turner and I.
Very cool. How'd you go about picking the guys? I mean, after spending so many years of playing with the great guys in Cinderella, I would assume putting together your arsenal of a band for your solo project took a lot of thought, took a lot of soul searching to figure out who you wanted to create your sound.
See, Don is a bass player, There's a little hint there.
Okay. Well, actually, I can actually give Savannah quite a bit of credit for that as well. As I told you, she had worked on Music Row. Nashville is such an incredible wealth of musicians there. And she produced a lot of demos for her publishing company. And she knew all the hot cat session players in town because she produced them all. So the guys that I used for my record, going back to 2003 when we were recording the tracks and stuff, were all really, really amazing session players in Nashville. I used a guy named Greg Morrow on drums, and Michael Rhodes on bass, and Tony Harrell on the keyboard, did most of the keyboards. Most of the guitar work I did myself. We had some other guest guitarists on the record, Pat Buchanan, Gary Burnett are both big Nashville session players. Actually, Jeff LeVar played on one song. The guitars from Cinderella played on one of the tracks. But most of the guitar work was done myself. We had a quite a famous saxophone player play on the last track, Babylon. That's Bobby Keys, Rolling Stones fame. Who I'm not sure if he still lives in Nashville, but he did. But Nashville, you don't have to look far to find like amazing musicians. So Savannah had a great relationship with a lot of these guys, and that's how I met them. And that's the band that played the record. And I have a different band out touring with me, but they're all Nashville guys too, and they are amazing musicians as well. I've got Billy Mercer on bass, and Paul Simmons on drums, Tony Higbee on guitar, and Paul Taylor on keyboards. So
that's Rhodes on the bass on the record.
Savannah sings on some songs too out here on the road too. She's out on tour with me.
Oh, cool.
So that's Michael Rhodes playing bass?
It's a different band that played on the record than what's out on tour with me.
Gotcha. Well, I tell you, it's an awesome tune. The only one that Larry sent me was the single right now.
Okay,
so
Solid Ground.
Yeah, yeah. And I put it in the first time, and I'm like, oh, crank it up.
I think when I met you, we were in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Nope,
that's when I met you.
We were in Reading, PA.
Oh, Reading, PA. Okay.
Is that where it was? I remember meeting you backstage at, I think we were on tour with Poison.
Yep.
Is that right? I remember now. Yeah.
And we brought...
Yeah, I still got some brain cells left.
we brought Fred Curry a massive can of hairspray.
Those big red cans that say "big sexy hair,"
big sexy hair, or big ass hair, or something like that.
Yeah, I bet he loved that.
Oh, he was using it before we could even hug him.
Well, and it's so weird because I'd never met him before, so his hair's a little ponytail. Then I see him on stage; it looks like he put his finger in his socket.
Are you still playing the double neck, the Gibson double neck?
Oh, I do with Cinderella. I don't have that on this tour.
Because I got to actually sling that sucker over my
I don't know if Tom knows that.
No, Tom doesn't. I don't think you were supposed to know that, Lou. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's lots of things I'm not supposed to know.
I didn't drop it, I swear. I just kind of held it and looked cool.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you got to.
But you're originally from Pennsylvania, huh?
Yeah, I'm from Philadelphia. I grew up right outside of Philadelphia in the western suburbs.
Hey, if I say something to you, I bet you'll know this. Only the Lord saves more than Bernie Perrant.
Yeah, I remember that.
I bet you didn't think that was going to come from this Jersey girl, did you?
That's awesome. So were you, obviously you followed the Broad Street Bullies.
Yeah, I love the Flyers. I was a huge Flyers fan. Yeah. All my Ranger buddies hated me. Of course, I like the Red Sox, too, so all my Yankee buddies hate me, too. But that's besides the point, even though I grew up outside New York.
Uh-huh. Well, those years with Dave Schultz and Bobby Clark and Bernie Perrant and the Broad Street Bullies, I was, I don't know how old I was. I was maybe like in middle school or something, and they won the Stanley Cup those 2 years in a row. And it just
early 70s.
It was Flyers fever. You know?
That was the best. That was the best.
Yeah,
I used to go down there all the time. I just love Philly. I love Philly. But
yeah, it's a good town.
All right, so now tell me, as far as touring, is it something? I mean, you always hear you never get to see the town you're in, but you've I guess you kind of have to spread things out a little bit. I guess maybe to save your voice too, or whatever. Do you get to ever go out really and see where you are? Although you're doing 3 or 4 gigs right in a row next couple of days.
Yeah, sometimes we do. I mean, I've been touring for, over 25 years now. So eventually you're going to have a day off everywhere. So,
eventually,
in that many years of touring. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes you come through an area and you go, man, I wish I had more time. But you don't, and then the next tour you do. So, and over the years, I've seen a lot of very cool things on tour, and I've had a really great life on the road. I love touring and playing the shows and just the whole experience of being out and traveling, and every day is like a new adventure. And,
how could you not with a tour manager like Larry Moran?
A tour manager like Larry Moran makes things very fun.
Exactly.
Now,
he's just a fun-loving guy.
When I saw you in Pennsylvania, you had your little one with you as well. I guess that was a number of years ago. How many kids do you have?
Just one.
Oh, just one.
Jaden,
okay.
And he's 9 years old.
Mm-hmm. Because he was really little, yeah. Because this number of years ago. Now, does he get to travel with you at all?
Yeah, he does. As a matter of fact, he's going to be coming out for a leg that we're going to be having in June here. As soon as he gets out of school, he'll be out with us for a couple of weeks.
So he gets to see Daddy the Rocker. How cool is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's more impressed with Chipper Jones, I think.
Yeah, well, that's okay, too.
Although the Braves aren't doing too much right now.
Mine were that way, too.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Tom. In the rock and roll world, you're in kind of an elite group that you are. You don't hide the fact that you've got conservative values and conservative views. Mm-hmm. What kind of walls have you run into? What kind of have you ever run into a problem given the fact that you're pretty much unashamedly conservative?
Well, I don't run into any walls. I don't really, honestly, I don't really express those views publicly. I honestly feel that I think that the process, our election process, would be better served if celebrities, artists, musicians would stop trying to convince people to vote for their views and rather encourage people to educate themselves on the candidates, the policies, the issues, and how a lot of those policies have played. Because there's nothing new in life. And all of these policies and political beliefs have been tried in different societies over history for years. So history is a good thing to educate yourself in. And then educate yourself in the actual policies of the candidate that you're considering to vote for, because usually the policy and the rhetoric don't match.
Yeah.
And really educate yourself before you pull that lever. that's what I would say to people that I think would make our system a better place to vote, rather than just pushing your own political views down the throats of your fans or your followers. I think it's not helpful to the system. I really do. So I've never really been real vocal about what my views are. Usually when it comes up, I encourage people to educate themselves before they vote, because there's a lot of bad information out there, and many times the rhetoric that is being spewed out by any given candidate doesn't always match the policies. So you got to really learn to read between the lines and see what rings true with you.
Amen.
So I think that's important.
That's awesome. It really is. Yeah.
I think that's a better message to spread than, vote for the guy that I like.
Well, there's enough of them doing that.
And it's weird because it becomes a popularity contest.
Yeah. So that's my take on it as a person who loves the country, and I think that the process sometimes gets tainted by people just saying, vote for my guy or vote the way that I believe. I don't think that that's helpful.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that are voting because their favorite celebrity is voting that way. I think you've nailed it on the head. And as a result, you got a lot of uneducated voters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and an uneducated vote is just a wasted vote. It just is. So.
Yeah, and I wish more people would take that attitude that you have, because to me, if you're a performer, don't stick your nose in politics, and if you're in politics, don't stick your nose on Leno and everything else. Seriously. But it's become a popularity contest.
Yeah, and that's not what it should be about. But when people are going and pulling that lever is one of the most important rights that we have, and it shouldn't be a popularity contest, and you shouldn't be influenced by pop culture. You should be pulling that lever a lot more seriously and educating yourself, and get as much information about the candidates and their policies and their history. And it's tricky because politicians are very good at deception. So.
Yeah, well, if people would be judging politicians by their actions instead of what they say, we'd be a lot better off all around, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
I agree with your opinion.
But you know what they say about opinions. Yeah. No, I can't say that on the air.
Well, you can on this radio show. Hey, Tom, I was talking to Larry earlier. Tell us where this album, and he said actually he wanted to defer this answer to you. Tell us where this album dropped on the charts, what it's doing, how you feel it's doing on the charts, and which charts you're really trying to obviously you want to land high on all of them, but it was quite impressive what he was telling me.
All I know is we had a really good debut last week. I think it was 78 on the Billboard Top 100. Is that right, Larry? 78.
75, he told us earlier.
I believe it was number 4 for rock albums.
Oh, great.
So
that's awesome.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Shoot, yeah.
Heck yes.
Yeah. I try not to follow all that stuff too much, because it's, I know it's a long game and it's going to go up and down each week. So I've never been one that follows that stuff real closely. But obviously, this record's been a long time in the making, and we were all excited to even land on the charts last week.
Hey, man, we're thrilled for you. Hey, listen, I know that you've had a really long day. You've done, I don't remember exactly what Larry told me, 5 interviews, a performance, acoustic performance, and this was supposed to be a day off, and now you're enduring 30 minutes with us.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Hey, man, thank you so much. It's an honor to work with you. You're a gentleman, and in my opinion, you're somebody that preaches live to have others emulate as opposed to alienate them with your views. And that's something I've been talking about for a long time with regard to conservatives. Live your life so that other people want to emulate you. Don't alienate them by shoving your views down their throat. And you walk that walk.
Yeah, I don't think that's helpful for anybody, and I really do think it would be a stronger country for people to be able to approach it more from, educate yourself, and then, you know what, left, right, middle, whatever rings true with you, go pull that lever as hard as you can. And then I will have no beef with what you do, but educate yourself before you do it.
Absolutely. Well, Tom, we're going to let you go. I really do appreciate it. Good luck with the album, The Way Life Goes, the single Solid Ground. Tom Kiefer, lead singer of Cinderella, and now out on his own. We're going to get back with telling everybody all the tour dates that are coming up as well. Tom, you have a good night, and you're in Little Rock, Arkansas tomorrow. Get that one out, and we'll give the rest of the dates when we come back right after this break right here on Cowboy Logic Radio.
Check us out on the web at cowboylogic.us.
You're listening to Cowboy Logic Radio.
I am tired of the United States military being put upon by this commander-in-chief and by all the little creepy left-wingers in this country. I'm sick of it. Oh, what we did in Iraq. What we did in Iraq was righteous. And young men and young women went over there and did it on orders from their president with the support of their Congress. I am not going to tolerate, at least on this program, the attack on our military families, what we've done. We are a great people. We are a beneficent people. We are a tolerant people. These damn puke liberals, if they lived anywhere else on the face of the earth, they'd be in gulags, they'd be enslaved, they'd be tortured or worse. They don't know how good they have it in this country. From the president on down, every day the rest of us who work for a living, who mind our own business, who pay our bills, who ask nothing from anybody, every damn day we have to hear this demagogue, our president, and the vice demagogue, and all the other demagogues who live in the lap of luxury, who take one trip a month, who are spending $1 million on a weekend, our money. We have to hear them lecture us about how our country sucks, how they're going to fix it, how our success and hard work doesn't belong to us, how we don't do enough for them, for their favorite political constituencies, for the government. We have to hear this every damn day, day in and day out, as they hollow out our society, as they destroy our economic system, as they undermine our military, as they leave wide open our borders. We have to hear this crap every single day. And by the way, not just from Democrats, Republicans too. Is there nobody left in public office who will defend our way of life? That's the question. Look at this Republican Party. This Republican Party, born as the anti-slavery party, born as the abolitionist party, prepared to take on the federal government, prepared to take on a third of the states, born in courage. Look at it today. Pathetic. Led by weasels. The Republican Party motto today is, what is the motto today? Let them eat mush. You shouldn't fear illegal aliens. You shouldn't fear the destruction of the culture. You shouldn't fear this. You shouldn't fear that. What are you, a conspiracy nut? What are you, paranoid? From the Republicans. It's unbelievable. So no, I'm not going to give time to mental patients on the left, the philosophy of the stupid, Oh, but don't worry, don't you know, they support the military. Oh, yes. While they're taking their health care away, they support them. You take health care benefits away from men and women who volunteer to defend our country with their lives and give it to people who haven't earned it, who sit on their asses. That's right, I said it. Claim to be victims and claim to have certain economic rights. That is a right to your labor. And I've had enough of it.
You're listening to Cowboy Logic Radio.
Okay, so we know you don't necessarily want to talk to Don NEUEN, but we know you want to talk to Donna FIDUCIA, and you can. Call 917-675-3200, and you'll get to talk to Donna FIDUCIA, and Don NEUEN will sit there and wait patiently.
Mom, I'm home.
Hi, honey. Did you find a job?
Not yet.
Again? Oh, maybe next time.
Maybe not. Why should I get a job? I got a roof over my head, 3 squares, laundry done, and thanks to Obamacare, health care till I'm 26. I've got it made.
That's right, kids. While the administration keeps telling us that the unemployment rate has gone down 0.1% overall, what they don't tell you is that more than 500,000 people have stopped looking for work. So they aren't even counted anymore. If they were, the unemployment rate would be closer to 15%. But wait, there's more. Youth unemployment is already there. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, teenage unemployment is a staggering 16.3%, more like 23% for young black and Hispanic men, the very group Obama has professed he's trying to help. Even the very liberal Huffington Post reported back in 2011 that youth unemployment was, quote, the worst summer on record for young adults looking for work in 2010 and 2011 since the Labor Department started keeping those stats. That's since 1948. In other words, the highest youth unemployment since the Great Depression. Now, with almost 1 million not counted since they gave up looking, it shows no sign of improving. The youth labor participation rate is at an all-time low. Rutgers University professor Charles E. Van Horn said these, quote, unfulfilled expectations for young people trying to get that meaningful early job and failing means increased poverty, the potential to work off the books, atrophy of skills, and an increased reliance on social safety nets. And black teens are even less likely to find work, as those who need work experience the most get the least. Statistics show that young people's first job and early employment history improves their self-esteem, buying power, and overall proves they'll be more successful in life, which can only help the country as a whole. The economy has been shrinking since 2009. The labor participation rate is at an all-time low since they kept those stats back in 1948. So it stands to reason that those with no experience looking for their first job will be the hardest hit. Couple that with kids coming out of college with tens of thousands of dollars in college tuition they'll have a diminished capacity to repay. The social ramifications are also staggering. Any way you cut it, this is record high youth unemployment, period.
So why bother looking anymore? I'll just get turned down or end up with a nothing job when I can hang out in the basement and play Xbox all day. Hey, that way I can live off of everybody else. Thanks, President Obama.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem. Government is the problem. Government is the problem. Government is the problem.
You're listening to Cowboy Logic Radio.
Don't you just wish you could do that to the turds in Congress?
You know, do me a favor. Could you say senator instead of ma'am?
I love these members that get up and say, read the bill.
What difference at this point does it make?
The whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
We know that the free market is nonsense.
This liberal will be all about socializing, will be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
The time has come for unfiltered, politically incorrect common sense. Welcome to the wild world of Cowboy Logic.
We got a few minutes left here. Our phone number 917-675-3200, 917-675-3200. I'm Donna FIDUCIA, along with Don NEUEN, and man, have we had a jam-packed show.
That's
right, kids. We've gone from Egypt to all kinds of scandals going on all over the place, out of Washington to D.C., to Tom Kiefer, lead singer from Cinderella, out on his own now with his long-awaited solo debut album called The Way Life Goes. 15 years in the making. Man, he had to overcome a lot of stuff. To have your vocal cords just suddenly freeze up on you when you're a lead singer in a big band like Cinderella, I can imagine that just caused a little bit of stress.
A little bit
of problem in your life. And to say, as he said, he had to warm up longer than the show actually is to get his voice sounding the way it is. Plus, you know, we're not spring chickens anymore, so age kind of catches up with it. But his single is called Solid Ground, made the Billboard debut at number 75, the album did, and number 4 on the rock charts, which is cool. We didn't get a chance to ask him, and I do need to look this up. I had heard that they are changing the way they actually figure out what number you are on the Billboard, lists because of so many internet
digital
downloads and things of that nature, and they should include that kind of stuff because otherwise the artists get ripped off.
Well, I want to interject something that I oftentimes will put on Facebook, and that is, rock and roll, musicians, artists, touring entertainers today do not earn a living like they did when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
When I
was your age.
Yeah, when I was your age. And the thing is, it used to be that they would sell records. You go into a record store, you'd buy records, they'd make money off of that. Mm-hmm. They would do big tours every couple of years, and but the rest of the time they're walking to the mailbox, taking their checks out. Mm-hmm. Those days are gone for the most part, and I cannot stress the importance of supporting touring musicians. Mm-hmm. That's how they earn a living now. And with the piracy that's going on, I can't say anything other than stop pirating artists.
It doesn't cost that much to download a couple songs. For God's sake, really.
Exactly.
But Tom has been in a bunch of places. He was in Texas and Joplin, Missouri, and Kansas City, Missouri last couple of days. But tomorrow he will be in Little Rock, Arkansas at the Revolution Music Room. And you were saying he wants to keep these smaller rooms.
He has designed this tour for intimate settings. And, this is a guy that's performed in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, where when he's standing on the stage and he's looking out, if he can see past the front line of lights, all he's looking at are a bunch of heads.
It's a sea of people.
Yeah. And he picked these venues for an intimate setting for the debut of this album.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's extremely cool.
Very cool. All right, now on the 17th at the Live Oaks Bar and Ballroom in Monroe, Louisiana. And then we've got Broussard, Louisiana, Jefferson, Louisiana, Buford, Georgia. That's May 22nd. Maybe we can try to go to see him down there when he comes.
I want to sit in and play castanets.
Do you?
Yes.
Raleigh, North Carolina. And then the Stone Pony, my neck of the woods, Asbury Park, New Jersey, which is still standing after Hurricane Sandy, or whatever that's, the Superstorm Sandy came through. The Chance, Poughkeepsie, New York. And the Bruise Brothers West in Luzerne, Pennsylvania. Cute name for that place. And the Chameleon Club in Lancaster, PA. And then he's also got dates later on. We're getting into June there. But Patchogue, Long Island, New York. Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Columbus, Ohio. Cleveland, Ohio. And Chicago, Illinois. And you can check them out on the web. Gee, I guess it would be TomKeifer.com. That's Keifer. TomKeifer, one word, .com. You can get all that information there. Find out a little bit about Tom if you didn't know already, and how cool it is to have your first solo album out after all these years.
What a class act.
Yeah, he really is cool. Very, very cool. Can't say class act for the people in Washington, D.C., for both sides of the aisle, but boy, do we have a lot of crap to talk about this week, and it's just been the pits. On top of everything that's going on with all of these scandals and the IRS and the AP getting investigated, Drudge has a story, and it's back on like page 3. But this is huge to me. I'm sorry. Belchertown. I love the names of these towns in Massachusetts. Belchertown. Shortly after midnight on Tuesday, 7 people caught trespassing at the Quabbin Reservoir, which is a huge reservoir in Massachusetts that supplies Boston's drinking water. These people were chemical engineers from Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Singapore. Where does that give you a warm, fuzzy feeling?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We have everything under control.
These aren't the droids you're looking for. I mean, come on. This is getting ridiculous. The 7 individuals currently live in Amherst, Cambridge, Sunderland, Northampton, and New York City. Police have not released their names because a court date has not been set. And they said, we're chemical engineers. We just want to check things out. It's kind of cool. We want to just look around.
We have Al-Qaeda on the run.
Gosh, this is unbelievable. It really, what Dr. Benjamin Carson said, if you want to do anything to undermine the country, you do exactly what this administration is doing, and that's fomenting this kind of activity and these people to come into this country and get educated here and then turn around and do things like what happened in Boston. I mean, I'm sorry. This is just, this has to, they supposedly are not on any watch lists or anything, but then again, that's what we heard initially from the Boston bombers as well, and found out otherwise later on. But
right,
this is just something that, supposedly they are cracking down on a lot of the reservoirs after this happened. But that'll be good for a few months, and then next thing you know, it'll go back to normal. And then, God forbid, something happens with this whole situation. As far as Obamacare is concerned, just want to touch on this real quick. I had a couple talking points that I jotted down this week. Apparently, the average premium, it will not be unheard of that your average premium is going to double if you're an individual policy holder. In some cases, based on your age, and I spoke to my insurance person today, actually, because I wanted to check up on this. If you don't have insurance, what little insurance you do have, if you suddenly are going to get it, could be 413% more than you were paying before. You can have less access. Obviously, doctors are retiring, and at least plus 30 cutbacks so far. So employers who have 30 people or less, they're going to cut back to less than 30, so they don't have to worry about insurance.
So our rates are going to what? What did she say our rates are going to?
At least 25% more, possibly double.
When?
Next year or this October. That's pretty much what the case is. Now, Betsy McCoy Ross, who used to be Lieutenant Governor of New York, she's read Obamacare. She said the real monkey business is going on now with taxpayers' money with Secretary of Health and Human Services Kathleen Sebelius. She was criticized last week for soliciting private contributions to Enroll America, which is a non-governmental organization run by former Obama campaign operatives. The bottom line is they tried not to fund this, and she turned around and went for private donations. And this is a media campaign, actually, which also manages messaging for Acorn, MoveOn.org, and La Raza, and 39 members of Congress, all Democrats. This is what Enroll America works with. This is all part of Obamacare and trying to get the whatever they call this Gang of Eight, Dream Act thing all together, and that all ties together to try to get 30 million more people also on health care and just totally collapse the system. It's unbelievable. Just unbelievable what's going on, but leave no crisis left unused. I can just ask everybody to check out the Cloward and Piven strategy if you haven't done that already, because that's what's happening to our country if we don't wake up. That's CLOWARD.
That's what's happening
and
to
Piven,
our country.
PIVEN strategy. Our president is a student of the Cloward and Piven strategy. It's what's happening. And if we don't wake up, we aren't going to have a country one day, gang. That's all I can say. And on that note...
Well, I'm having a downer moment right now.
I'm sorry, but hey, I'd rather be able to talk about it and save the country, hopefully, in our little way that we can, than wake up one day and have everything, the great America that we know, be gone. And people like the guys who are walking across America now, on the way to Dallas, they're doing their part to keep this country the way it should be, and we need to
just ask yourself, what are you doing? What are you doing to help?
You gotta be aware of what's going on and act locally in your little area, and hopefully we can just get enough people together to try to wake up the sleeping giant that is the American voter, the low information voter, that hopefully will, wake up one of these years and see what's going on with this country, because it's really getting to be scary at this point, extremely scary. What
was it that Beck said earlier today? You told me about it when I got home.
Well, it's all part of the one world order.
Before I had Donna's spaghetti.
Now you want to go to sleep, right?
No.
Put you to bed. Well, he pretty much is saying this is all the civil unrest that's being fomented, the IRS, the AP being looked in. This is all going for the jugular at this point, as the arrogance of these elitists to form this one world order is getting more and more brazen. And it's not anything we didn't know before, but the way that they're doing it and how fast they're doing it surprises even me, because they really are arrogant about it. They make no bones about it.
Well, they must, obviously they do. They think that the citizens of the United States are complete idiots, because you've got the President of the United States that's telling us that he is learning of the IRS debacle, the AP violations with the Department of Justice.
Well,
that he's
the first
learning
I heard
that.
of it when I saw it on the news.
I read it in the Times, in the New York Times.
Bullcrap. He's the president. Fish rots from the head down, gang. It's been Bush's fault. It sure as heck is Obama's fault. I'm sorry. In many ways, Bush was no great shakes either. But the president, you fire the coach. You don't fire the team. The coach gets fired when the team has a terrible record.
This is like blaming the quarterback of the University of Georgia football team that graduated 4-5 years ago for the team losing now.
Oh, I know.
Blaming the quarterback, the quarterback that's there now, that's a junior, who wasn't even at the University of Georgia when this character was playing. Going, I know we're having a rough season, we can't win a ball game, but it's Bob's fault that graduated 4 years ago.
When you're talking about arrogance, Obama has prosecuted more whistleblowers than all other presidents in history combined. We're talking about the McCarthy era, World War I, World War II, and only, he hasn't been in office even 5 years. Okay? So in 5 years, he's prosecuted more whistleblowers than any other president combined. Because you'll go against this guy, he's gonna try to ruin you. So if we're here next week,
yeah,
we're not here next week. You know why?
If we get audited, we're gonna let you know about it.
And we'll be back on Tuesday. That's our regular day. Yesterday, obviously, we were marching with carrytheload.org, and that takes precedent in our book. So, but normally Tuesdays from 9 to 11, and maybe a little overtime, since
that's the beauty of being with the American Pride Network.
Yeah.
The American Pride Network signed us on 3 weeks ago. The audio quality has been phenomenal ever since. The support has been phenomenal ever since. And we don't have any time limits.
And unlike when I worked at the Fox News Channel, you did have time limits, and you get clipped off completely. The machine would cut you off if you didn't end right on the money.
That's right. That's called a hard break, right?
Yes, it is a hard break, and there's plenty of people who can never handle a hard break. Luckily,
that are still on the Fox News Channel. And you can watch them every night at 10 o'clock. All right, take us out, my dear.
All right, gang. Thanks for listening. We will see you next Tuesday right here. Be there or be square at cowboylogic.us. I'm Donna FIDUCIA along with Don NEUEN. Again, get online to carrytheload.org. Support these guys as they march toward Dallas for Memorial May, raising money for fallen heroes. And TomKeifer.org. That's TOMKEIFER.org.
.com.
I'm sorry, my bad. .com. It's carrytheload.org. TomKeifer.com. Bite my tongue. Check it out. Go online and support Tom as well as he travels around the country in his first solo effort. Thanks again, gang. We will see you next Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Time right here on the Cowboy Logic Radio Network. Hey gang, this is Tom Keifer's song. Again, it's called Solid Ground.
I try to find
Logic Radio. Unfiltered, politically incorrect, common sense. You've been listening to Cowboy Logic Radio, a division of DONNA FIDUCIA Production.